This is the most Carolina Panthers week in the 30-year history of the Carolina Panthers.
No. This is the most Charlotte week.
That is true.
Because what I told you a couple of weeks ago, it's like the Hornets over here and the Panthers like, hey man, we need a headline today. What you got?
Yeah, well,
and the Hornets just in the woods like, hey, the Panthers just made a headline. What you got? It's like they compete for headlines.
Right. Oh, man. What hasn't happened in Charlotte sports over the last week? But UCC fired their coach today. Just one more thing to put into Charlotte sports today. I guess let's start with the biggest news. In that the Carolina Panthers did something that nobody saw coming. Some people kind of saw it coming, but it was still shocking. They traded Christian McCaffrey to the San Francisco 49ers. I'm
sorry, man. It hurts.
In exchange for a second-round draft pick, a third-round draft pick, a fourth-round draft pick, and a fifth next year. This came a few days after they traded Robbie-Anderson to the Arizona Cardinals for a stick of gum. And if you guys recall, last week Robbie-Anderson had an Antonio Brown moment and was escorted off the field by the coaching staff. He was immediately traded the very next day. And then teams came calling about McCaffrey, and the thought process was that the Panthers would not deal him because they would want too much in return. Basically because McCaffrey's cap hit is much lower this season and next season. So, but still, what's funny is the deal that was made. A lot of people were split on who won the deal because a lot of people feel like San Francisco gave up too much for Christian McCaffrey. Some people feel like the Panthers got too little in return for McCaffrey. So, hold on, we're not even done that.
Yeah, wait, we got more.
Add to that, Angry Tom Brady comes to town. Tom Brady, being a member of the Bucs, has never lost to the Carolina Panthers, and this was going to be their get-right game. I think we predicted they would win by like 40.
I thought we would be the team that scored 3 points.
Right, yeah, but Carolina Panthers come out and win 21-3. This is only the third time in Tom Brady's entire career in which he's been held to 3 points.
I gotta admit something. I'm sitting here watching this game trying to figure out the whole time, like, are we good or is Tampa Bay just bad?
See, that's why, you know what?
I gotta admit that.
I've been a fan of the Panthers and the Hornets since day one for both teams. I have been there the absolute worst times. I have seen Panthers teams much worse than the one we have now.
Yeah.
And I've never, though, hated the Panthers. I've always thought, man, they suck, but
it's my team. Ride or die, right?
I hate them. I hate this. I don't hate the players, and I don't really hate the coach. In fact, I'm happy for Steve Wilkes getting a win today, and I feel bad for him. We'll talk about this more in a bit.
Yep.
But I just hate the fact that clearly the Christian McCaffrey trade was a tank move. You make that move because you want to accumulate picks and get a top 3 pick and change the course of your franchise.
And it's funny. I'm gonna let you go, but it's funny. Me and you are mad at that trade for different reasons, and I'm gonna go, but I want to let you finish first.
Well, I just think that obviously the move is to tank. And then you come out and you beat a team you're not supposed to beat.
Hey man, we're not supposed to be mad we won the game.
I know.
I feel so. It's a weird feeling.
It is. Yeah, because here's let's say the Panthers mess around and win enough.
Start winning games
and get like the 9th or 10th pick. Then
what are we doing?
Yeah, we're like the Charlotte Hornets again. Like this, like none of this works. If you can't get a franchise-changing player.
However, two things I want to bring up when it comes to Chris McCaffrey trade and the coaching change, and they're both. We can point at one guy for all of this stuff. Matt Rule has He ruined the Carolina Panthers for 4 years.
Yeah,
there is nothing that has not been more evident than after today. You look at the Panthers the last 2 weeks, it's like, my God, we're like an NFL team. But then what makes me angry is like, we could have been doing this.
Could have been doing this.
And then what makes me even angrier is that, and which brings me to my reason about why I'm mad about the Chris McCaffrey trade, because I told you guys in our private chat, I'm mad because we shouldn't even got to the point where we were even considering trading Chris McCaffrey. But you know why we got to this point? You want to say it?
College shit.
So it's on it's a double-edged sword, man. It's like we could have been playing better, and we pretty much just donated. And I'm gonna say that we did give the 49ers a Hall of Fame talent for what? You know what I mean?
So
because I ain't finished yet. Because we're trying to cover up the bullshit we gave up.
Yes.
For who? For Sam Darnold? And whose idea was that? Good riddance, Matt Rule. Good Lord, man.
So I want to talk about the game real quick.
Yeah, let's talk about that,
only real quick, because we have a lot to cover. And the Panthers or the Hornets play at 5, so we're gonna have to miss a little bit of that. But the game today was. It was well coached, great execution, a pretty good game plan considering that they knew how limited they were. Now, Tampa Bay, their secondary was depleted even before the game started, and they lost Antoine Winfield to a concussion in the middle of the game, and that's probably why you9saw the Panthers throwing the ball a lot more. But see, that's good coaching.
Right.
You game plan. You say, okay, Tampa Bay was the number 9 passing defense in the league coming into the day, but they're missing 3 starters. Yeah. Let's test the waters a little bit. And then the defense played. I mean, the defense had been playing well actually all season.
Right.
A continuation of what we saw last season. And
let me cut you off real quick, man. But I just there's something I want to point out with the defense as to why coaching matters. Because the defense played what you call down and distance football. And here's what I mean by that. You know, total yard. They gave up 322 total yards. But they got them off the field on third down. And it's so important, especially to get somebody like Tom Brady. They got him off the field on fourth down because a couple of those possessions were 4-down territory, and they stopped them twice. You know what I mean? Yep. So that is just good game planning and good coaching. Because look, let's face it, our secondary is a little depleted too. J.C. Horn didn't play today. You know, we don't have Jeremy Chin out there.
Yep. Was back. That was good to see.
That was good to see. C.J. Henderson's battling injuries. We're hard on C.J. Henderson. He fought today. All right, let's give him some credit. So we're a little depleted too, man. So that just brings me back to coaching and how it matters.
I think the biggest impact defensively has been the ability to stop the run.
Yeah.
Panthers were the worst in the league at that last season. They've been much better at it this season. Yeah. They only allowed 46 rushing yards. I mean, most of those yards were Tom Brady trying to get Tampa Bay back into the game. He passed for 290 yards, but they only rushed for 46. That's big.
That's big time.
Now, to be fair, Tampa Bay is the worst rushing offense in the league, but you know, at least
that's never stopped anybody else.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of teams that would have a bad rushing offense would think, okay, we're going up against the Panthers. It's going to be a little easier for us today. It really wasn't.
I distinctly remember a Commanders team that was dead last in rushing that still rushed for 250 yards against us. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a good balance. The only real there were a few things. There's always a few things. Like, you can't let Mike Evans get wide open. I mean, we got lucky that Mike Evans dropped in sure 6 points.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then late in the game, the Panthers got a little scared and started running soft zone coverages, and Tom Brady's eyes lit up, and they were able to go downfield. Luckily, we held in the red zone where it counted, but they were still able to rack up some. I saw way too many out routes against like a cover three, and then Mike Evans is just sitting in literally just sitting there. Right. Dante Jackson is 10 yards upfield, like
confused.
Yeah. But having said that, I mean, I mean, really, I can't find any flaws in it.
But then to your point, man. Again, man, you gotta give C.J. Henderson and these other guys some credit. I'm tell you why, man. Chris Godwin, who is a Panthers killer,
exactly, yeah,
he's a Panthers killer. Held him in check today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those other guys didn't really get off, and you got to give them credit, man. And look, we got to be realistic here. You're not gonna hold Tom Brady and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You're not just gonna. You're not going to completely shut them down, man. But for what they did today, man, it's highly impressive, I'd say.
So let's hop right to the offensive and defensive MVP so we can talk about future state.
Yeah.
As we like to say in the corporate world. You have a lot of choices for offensive MVP. So I'm just going to name some names. P.J. Walker went 16 for 22 for 177 yards.
I know who I'm picking.
I know I'm picking too. 2 touchdowns. He averaged 8 yards a throw. He's only sacked once with a 126.5 QB rating. Deonta Foreman, 15 carries for 118 yards, averaged 7.9 yards a carry. 60 yards was his long. Chuba Hubbard, 9 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown. DJ Moore, 7 catches, 69 yards, 1 touchdown.
How about my main man, Tommy Tremble, catching the
Tommy Tremble, man, where has he been?
Before I pick my offensive MVP, I got to say this. I know I was going to ask why, but doesn't it look like there's some players out there who have some new life? Like somebody just breathed new life.
Miles Hartfield, where did you come from? Weren't we just talking smack about Miles Hartfield like 2 weeks ago? And he's played very well these last weeks.
Somebody called him the worst starting safety in the league. And look what he's doing, man, the last 2 weeks. Look, Tommy Tremble caught a damn touchdown. DJ Moore looks like he's happy playing football again.
So, another thing real quick about offensive MVP. I'm seeing a lot of comments on Facebook in the Panthers forum. Even our brothers Vince and Rodney communicated this to us in a private chat, that not having McCaffrey led to a more balanced offense because you didn't have to force the ball or force the offense through one player.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't, and I'm going to tell you why.
All right.
You cannot say, well, Christian McCaffrey's injury prone. He never plays. What do we need him for? If you're just going to say that not having him makes the offense more balanced. He's only played 12 games in 2 seasons. There's been a big enough sample size to determine whether or not the offense is better than with Christian McCaffrey or without.
Well, I'll probably go back and want to say it now, but I guess to kind of add to your point, and I've said this repeatedly from last season, there's no coincidence how that offense fell apart when he got injured. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So I think, to your point, man, to keep it simple, execution matters. And I'll say this much. Maybe with Christian McCaffrey, going out the door, I think the light bulb kind of went off with the offense. I'll say that much. I'll say McAdoo and the rest of the players were like, all right, we don't have our guy anymore. We got to make it a point to go ahead and execute better. Now, I'll say that.
Yes.
I will. I'll give it that much.
And to be fair, Ben McAdoo was not the offensive coordinator last season when we didn't have McCaffrey, or the season before. Right. So, yes, it could be one of those things where now that McCaffrey's gone, McAdoo is forced to be more creative. Yeah. Without Christian McCaffrey there, because when Christian McCaffrey is on the field, if you are the defense, the play's going through him, even if he don't get the ball.
That's coaching.
That's coaching. Yeah. I feel like if you cannot be successful with a player like Christian McCaffrey on your team, that's not McCaffrey's fault.
Right? I mean, it's so funny, man, because these last 2 games have us very reflective of the Matt Rule era, and rightfully so. And I'm looking back, man, I'm just like, maybe Rule just didn't trust who he had out there, which is crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like McCaffrey.
But see, in college, if you have a player like McCaffrey, what do? Yeah, I mean, but seriously, that's how it is in college, because college are the top 1% of all high school players, right. and then the best of those guys are. Right. Look at Christian McCaffrey at Stanford. Right. Name anybody else that played on that Stanford team. Exactly. But we all know Christian McCaffrey at Stanford, and he got the ball a lot at Stanford because he was clearly the best player. that's what Matt Rule was doing. He was like, well, in college, I'm just going to give the ball to my best guy,
right? The same thing in the pro.
Exactly.
But hey, Matt Rule, everybody is pretty good if they.
Everybody's good in the NFL, right? Offensive MVP. I'm gonna say PJ Walker.
I'm gonna go with Deontay Foreman, man, and I'll go for this. And then look, I want to give it to PJ Walker because I thought he played a hell of a game, man. But Deontay Foreman had the big impactful plays, like the 60-yard run. You know what I mean? And he gave us the big plays that McCaffrey would have probably given us. So I think he stepped in big time.
Good point. Ron Rivera essentially did the same thing with Christian McCaffrey, which is weird because he was never willing to uncuff Cam Newton.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Defensive MVP.
Man.
A lot of guys you could choose from. Dante Jackson had 10 solo tackles. Wow.
Yeah.
Miles Hartfield actually led the team in tackles today. That's kind of crazy. But I'm going to say Brian Burns.
I'm with you on that one.
Which we're going to talk about Brian Burns in a little bit more depth here in a minute or so. But Brian Burns, 3 solo tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for losses, and a QB hit.
Yep.
He was very disruptive today. He looked like he was worth 2 first-round draft picks.
Absolutely. It's like he heard everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, actually what I saw from him more so than what jumped out on the stat sheet, didn't he seem like a leader? Like
new life.
Yeah,
players have new life.
It felt like he was the leader of the defense. Like everyone on the defense was like feeding off his energy.
Yep,
right.
Yep.
Yeah. And
so I want to talk about this more. And my defensive MVP is Brian Burns as well. But I want to talk about this rumored rejected trade. And I'm going to get to Brian Burns on the field in a second here. And I'm not going to lie, man. I looked at that and what we rejected. And I looked at that and I said to myself, man, 2 first rounders? I don't know. And then I looked at what Brian Burns did on the field. Kind of like I said, it's almost like he heard the rumor as well. Maybe, just maybe, Brian Burns was very appreciative. Like, man, they really value me around here. They didn't give up 2 first-round picks for me. And I thought on the field, just kind of like you alluded to, he did more than what showed up on the stat sheet. Mm-hmm. I noticed they were dropping him back in coverage more, which I kind of like now. Like, I wasn't feeling that at first, but I kind of like the fact that they're doing so many different things with him now. They dropped him back in coverage. He got a big sack on Brady. He got some more QB pressures. He was just a little bit of everywhere. I'm ringing your bell for no damn reason, but he was everywhere, man. And I like that. And I think somebody like that is invaluable, and that's probably why you're not too quick to give up.
The 2 most important positions in the NFL are what? Quarterback, defensive end.
That's it.
So you have. I don't think that Brian Burns is elite as a defensive end. Like he's not. Like he's never going to be like J.J. Watt.
He ain't Bosa.
Right. But it would be hard to replace him in the draft.
Absolutely.
And although I guess we might not talk about it this week, but I kind of think defensive end should be somewhere that we're looking in the draft instead of quarterback. That's
I agree.
Another discussion. But could you really, and I know a lot of people are going to look and say, man, but now we're going to have to pay him a lot of money.
Right.
But
pay up.
Pay up, especially since you've essentially said, okay, we like where our defense is, and this is where we're going to hang our hat.
Time out. You don't reject 2 first-round picks and then say, we're not going to pay you. That's hustling backwards. Yeah, you're not going to do that. Yeah.
Before we talk more about picks and whatnot, predictions for next week. We play the Falcons, who lost to the Bengals. And get this, with the loss.
Shout out to Danny Thompson for Law Faulkner for all on today.
With the loss to the Cardinals on Thursday night.
Don't say it.
The Saints now have a worse record than the Carolina Panthers, which hurts the tank.
Right.
So 2 things. What are your predictions for the game against the Falcons? And then let's talk about the T word.
Man, I'm feeling good this week. You know what? And quite honestly, man, I don't know if it's my hatred for the Falcons or if I even really feel this way, but I was going to predict us to win anyway. So I'm going to keep on that train. I'm going to predict that we beat the Falcons. Think the game is going to be high scoring. I pick us to win. I'm going to go 31-27. And I give credit where it's due. The Falcons have a pretty good offense, man. I think they found something. I don't know if they're starting Mariota or Ritter, but I think they like what they have in both of those guys. The Falcons defense has been very questionable this year. They gave up like 35, 42, whatever it was to the Bengals today. So I see more of the same, man. I think we've kind of gotten some rhythm offensively. I still like our defense. I think we'll get stops when it matters. You know what I mean? But I still pick us to win. High scoring affair. You cannot pick. You just can't, Kaiser.
But we're playing it. We're playing it in Atlanta.
I don't care. Let me let you make your pick. I'm sorry. Let me back off. I'm being obnoxious.
Baker Mayfield will probably be back next week. They said on the broadcast that he himself thought he was going to play today, and so the big question is going to be: does Steve Wilkes just want to just keep going with what's working with PJ Walker, or do you want to give Baker Mayfield another chance?
You know what? I trust him to make that decision. I'll leave it at that.
I do too.
Yep.
It's momentum is very important in the NFL, and if the Panthers have this confidence, particularly in the defensive side of the ball, they're going to be a tough out for anyone. I mean, they haven't gotten blown out except for one game,
right,
in which they were winning that game at one point. Man, it's just that we're playing in Atlanta.
Yeah, which we don't have a lot of success. Yeah. Let's be real. Yeah.
So I'm going to pick the Falcons, but I think that we get them back in Bank of America Stadium 2 weeks,
which is a Thursday night game. Which is a Thursday night that the Hurricanes, Panthers, and Hornets all play the same night, November 10th.
That's going to be rough.
Yeah.
That's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about our trading people away
and tanking and
so here's
and game 2 hot takes that I can't get enough of.
So
Jesus Christ,
after the McCaffrey trade, that kind of opened the floodgates to every GM in the league contacting the Carolina Panthers asking for our best players, because obviously the consensus around the league was that the Carolina Panthers are looking to tank so they can get a top 3 pick. So that they can get a quarterback,
right.
Because they need one,
right.
And they're going to be willing to give all these, give these guys away because they essentially gave McCaffrey away. However, that's not been the case. Apparently, first round picks were offered by multiple teams for Brian Burns. Panthers said no.
Nope.
And they also offered up first round picks for DJ Moore.
Yeah.
And the Panthers said no. And that kind of
gave you pause.
I'll tell you what.
Mm-hmm.
Christian McCaffrey, regardless of whether you think the Panthers got too much or too little for him, I think a lot of people, because he was injured, are understating how good he was.
Right. 6th
all time in scrimmage yards.
That's crazy.
Per game. That's a dumb stat. Okay,
for somebody who doesn't play that much. Right.
So you cannot replace Christian McCaffrey. No. You cannot. In fact, 27 years of Carolina Panthers history, who's the best running back you've ever had? Christian McCaffrey, right?
I'm sorry. It's him.
You can't replace him. Okay? You may feel like we don't need a Christian McCaffrey to win, which is true.
Right. Both things can be true.
Yep. Yeah. But you can't replace him.
Right.
You can replace DJ Moore, and I love DJ Moore. DJ Moore is an underrated talent. I feel like he's one of the best pure wide receivers in the NFL. But dog, you could get if you trade a Chris Godwin for DJ Moore straight up. I mean, you lose nothing. Exactly. You could you could trade DJ Moore for 2 first-round picks, which is what the rumors were being offered.
I mean,
and then draft another DJ Moore with one of those picks.
I mean, you look at the wide receiver class coming out this year.
Yes.
There's a DJ Moore.
And DJ Moore's cap hit is bigger than Christian McCaffrey's was going to be this year and the next year.
Right.
I'm kind of puzzled.
So are you saying you don't understand why they didn't pull the trigger on
why not trade DJ Moore? I don't understand why you wouldn't trade DJ Moore if the rumors are true. Right. If a team is saying we'll give you a first. I got a dog.
I'm
like, well, DJ.
Hey, man. So The only explanation I have, and this is obviously a guess. We don't talk to these people, y'all. Well, sometimes, but in this case, we don't talk to these people. All right. My only guess is that you say to yourself, well, because the Panthers have vehemently come out and said we're not tanking. These moves that we're making, this is not a tank. That's what they said. That's what came out of their mouths. So with that being said, they're probably looking at DJ Moore as a commodity or somebody that is a fixture going forward, like Brian Burns. And that's it. They probably feel the same way they do about DJ Moore that they feel about Brian Burns, regardless of whether you can replace him or not. You know what I mean?
I don't disagree with that.
Right.
Because the Panthers have said this isn't a full rebuild.
Right.
And you do have to keep some core players. And you figure we could get something for McCaffrey. And I also think part of that move was the Panthers have a lot of respect for the McCaffrey and the McCaffrey family.
Yeah.
And they know that he can't win here.
Right.
His career is on he's about in the twilight of his career. Someone's down on the downslope. You send him to a place to like 49ers who literally overnight became Super Bowl contenders.
Right.
I think that's part of what that deal was as well. However, though, I just don't feel like this rebuild works if you don't get a top 3 pick.
But think about it this way. And this might be a bit of a stretch. I'll go ahead and admit that. But think about it this way. Okay, you trade DJ Moore for a first. That still leaves you at a bit of a hole at receiver. Let's be real. With our receiving core, if you let him go, there's a pretty big hole at receiver. So you trade a first, and you're like, okay, now we still need a receiver.
Yeah, but like
it's like, do we want to spin our wheels again on that position when we need so many other things?
But like you said, this draft is deep with receivers. I mean, there's like 4 projected to go in the first round. It just kind of puzzles me that okay, you trade McCaffrey, but then you get a better offer for DJ Moore. Like,
all right, so let's break this down. And I hate to say this, but it's the truth. I hate saying this. I think if we were the New England Patriots, DJ Moore would have been out the door. Let me explain where I'm coming from with this. All right. Patriots have this history of trading away on the Hall of Fame talent, and they never missed a beat, right? You know why? The Patriots identify sometimes we need to trade away some of these A's because we need more B's and C's in these particular holes that we have on our team. The Panthers don't do that.
You know what's interesting about the Patriots that you say that? And this is the only real problem I have with the McCaffrey trade. I don't like trading for draft picks.
Right. Because it's too much of an unknown. Yeah.
Give me players.
Right. That you know what you're going to get.
Because that's what the Patriots actually do not draft well. They actually draft
they have some misses.
Yeah, it's like an inside joke. Because Bill Belichick is the GM.
Let me clean this up for you. I'm gonna tell you the weird thing about the Patriots. They don't really hit on their early picks, but for some reason they find these really good guys
in
the late rounds.
Well, because they draft within their system.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we need a guy who can do this specific thing.
Yeah.
Let's go get him.
Right.
Panthers.
Now, y'all, we're not trying to turn this into a Patriots podcast, but the point that we're ultimately trying to make is
my thing is trading for picks indicates tanking.
Yeah.
Trading for players does not.
Right.
Trading for players indicates we'll give you this guy and in return we want guys who are going to help us win.
Right.
Okay.
Better for our system. Right. We know we're going to get out of it.
We didn't get guys to help us win. We got picks that could potentially make us better next year or a few years down the road.
You mean kind of players like Hassan Reddick, who, never mind, man. Okay. All right, go ahead, bro.
By the way,
who was balling.
I was talking to our buddy JG in chat here. He didn't realize, and I think a lot of people out there don't realize, that Scott Fitterer is not. I mean, he's the GM, but he doesn't make personnel decisions.
Right.
That's I don't want to butcher his names. Salam. So the cap guru. Anyway,
yeah.
And it's funny because Scott Fitterer in a recent interview talked about what a good signing Hassan Reddick was and how he didn't make that deal. He didn't sign.
Which rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah,
I was like, what do you mean you didn't make that deal?
You didn't make that deal. And to me, stuff like that indicates the biggest problem with the Carolina Panthers and why I hate them right now. That's messy, right?
Yes. Messy is being kind, bro.
It's like, dude, like I'll use a GM, but you let your cap manager sign the free agents, but you make the draft picks.
You know what's funny? Now that you mention it, I don't like that. If you're a cap guy, advise your GM,
right?
But don't make the damn decision.
Don't be like, hey man, I'm gonna sign Hassan Reddick. I'm just the cap guy. And everyone else is like, yeah,
good job.
Well, that was a good deal.
Good job, cap guy.
Yeah, why don't you just make him the GM?
I don't like the way that works, man.
I don't like that either. That's just an aside. So here's the thing. If the Panthers aren't tanking, then what are we doing? Should we be happy about this win? Should we feel like
Kaiser? Again, let me say this, man. I've never felt so weird about a damn win in my
because last week we were looking at the schedule like, oh hell no,
the first pick, here we go.
Yeah, and that was with McCaffrey. We was like, dang, and then after the trade, it was like, oh wow, we certainly gonna get. We were talking in our private chat, 3 wins.
Listen, I did not think we were going to score today. That's how bad we thought it was.
So now I'm looking at the schedule. There's still a lot of tough games.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We got the Bengals coming up.
Yep.
Broncos, Seahawks. But, those, like Broncos and Seahawks, those games don't seem as scary anymore.
That don't seem scary at all.
The Lions?
That don't seem scary.
That's not scary. The Falcons twice?
Nope.
The Ravens?
Nope. Well.
Lamar Jackson and Mike. I think that's going to be a really good game.
That's going to be a good test. That's a good test.
Yeah. That's going to be a focal point for our defense.
It sounds crazy to say this, man. The Baltimore game is going to gauge where we're at. Like we're going to see like if the Wilkes era is a fluke or not. You know what I mean?
And then we end the season with the Saints, who right now have technically a worse record. They have the same record as the Panthers, but we beat them earlier, so they're last in the division.
Looking way ahead. If we play the Saints, if Andy Dalton is the quarterback,
we're winning. Yeah, we're winning
because he was terrible too.
Man, what's crazy? Whenever I see Andy Dalton now, him and Cam Newton came in the same draft,
right?
And there were a lot of people.
Oh boy, the comparisons were there.
There were a lot of people that felt like Andy Dalton was a better quarterback than Cam Newton, and I think. If you're talking about just sitting back and passing the ball, I'll give you that.
Slightly.
Yeah, I think maybe he had some skills that Cam Newton did not have. But as far as just being an overall better player, no, absolutely not. And it's funny that like Cam Newton's out of the league and Andy Dalton's still in the league, being terrible.
Right. Privilege.
Hey, speaking of privilege, man. Jamal, your barber Nate gonna be salty. That's what Jamal said.
Oh man, no. I went to Nate yesterday, Jamal. We good, bro.
Yes, the New England system works because they have an NFL coach, and that brings me to our next point. And speaking of privilege, Steve Wilkes.
Yeah,
I was so glad actually that he got a win today.
Yeah, no doubt.
And a well coached game.
No doubt.
And you can tell the players respond to him differently. I think the players loved it when he kicked Robbie-Anderson out of the game.
Yeah.
I think the rest of the team was like,
again, we're being reflective on the Matt Rule era again, right? Because I'm looking back at that, and you could surmise that maybe this whole time the rest of the team wasn't feeling Robbie-Anderson, man.
Exactly. So, having said that, I feel bad for him because I don't think that he's the clear choice moving forward for the head coach of this team.
Now let me ask you this, man, because this is something I saw made mention on Twitter today. Is Steve Wilkes in an unfair position right now? You know what I mean? Because it's like, at least judging by the first 2 weeks, it looked like an entirely different team. They look like an NFL coach team at the very least, okay? And you look at Steve Wilkes and you're like, I don't think anybody would disagree that, damn, he deserves to be.
Yeah.
If not with this team.
Yeah, he got railroaded in Arizona.
Right. He deserves to at least be interviewed for a head coach position. He, at the very least, deserves to be on this staff and with this franchise in some capacity. So with that being said, is this kind of an unfair position for him? Is he the bridge coach? And which probably the answer is probably yes to that. But
it's not.
But what if?
I'll tell you this. if they can't get Sean Payton, which
kind of seems like a pipe dream, right?
Well, Sean Payton said on the Colin Cowherd show that he thought the Carolina Panthers job was attractive.
Now, comes out.
But Jay Glazer,
thank you.
Said
you heard the same thing.
He said that he talked to Sean Payton.
To him. Yeah.
He said no. Now, money talks.
And Dave Tepper ain't got no shortage of that.
Dave Tepper got $20 billion in his bank account. But however big the check needs to be to get Sean Payton, he'll sign it.
Right.
Okay. But let's say that he can't come in, and then you can't get a guy like Jim Harbaugh. Let's say you can't get Harbaugh to come out of college.
Right.
Why not give Steve Wilkes a shot?
I don't see why not.
Do you really think that he would be any worse than someone like Eric Bieniemy, who's a name who's, by the way, sometimes we ignore players, and players are right. LaShawn McCoy made a statement earlier this season about Eric Bieniemy.
And he was vilified.
And people talked.
People flamed him. Yeah.
Andy Reid came out and essentially said he didn't know what he was talking about. Right. And now it looks like he was right. And a lot of players, active players, are anonymously saying this is why Eric Bieniemy can't get a head coaching job is because the players don't like him.
Right.
And so I got to think that, that's something the Panthers would look at because they didn't like Matt Rule. Why are you going to hire another dude that guys don't like? But it seems like they like Steve Wilkes.
Yeah. Yeah. They respect him.
Clearly there's something there.
And you know one of my favorite words, man. He has so much equity with that franchise, man. Like, why don't you give him a hard look, man? And what I was going to ask you, like, dog, I mean, what if the Panthers end up reeling off another 4 or 5 victories? You mean to tell me he doesn't deserve to get looked at?
Exactly. Yeah.
With different personnel moves in the offseason?
And consider this. Okay, so you got a really good defense, and you got a team that's slowly improving.
Right. Who now you have more draft picks that you have to play.
Now you got a top 3 pick. You give this guy a quarterback.
You mean to tell me you don't see the improvement that we can make?
I don't know who we would pick. A lot of mock drafts are attaching us to C.J. Stroud from Ohio.
I love C.J. Stroud. I
think he'd be a good pick. Would he be like? There's no Cam Newtons or Andrew Lucks in this draft. Let's be clear here.
And look, I'll say this much: C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, they're pretty damn good.
Pretty good.
Now, I'm not ready to call them generational or whatever, or Cam Newton type talent, but I'd be pretty.
But yeah, I mean, you put one of them with Steve Wilkes in this defense.
Yeah.
Then everyone's like, Christian who?
Right. Then we got something, right? Whatever you do, I think we all agree this. You better not go retread mode again. You better not go college mode again.
I think David Tepper learned his lesson.
I hope so, bro.
Speaking of learning lessons.
Oh boy. There's a Charlotte player who he got some lessons need to be learned.
So right now, actually tip off is in about 10 minutes. The Charlotte Hornets are going to play the Atlanta Hawks. Terry Rozier
out tonight.
Out and Cody Martin out. Those 2 big losses, especially Terry Rozier, who
is balling right
dog.
now.
I mean, I thought he broke his joint in half. He's like, I'm going back out there.
Yeah.
In a very competitive game against the Pelicans, man. But before the season even started, and here's, y'all gonna learn. Where's the camera? Under construction, we know what we're talking about. We may not be right 100% of the time, but I remember in the preseason when we were saying James Bouknight getting locked up by Peyton Pritchard, and people, oh my God,
y'all hating on
it's just the preseason.
It's just the preseason, dog.
He had hands.
Oh man,
Peyton Pritchard. People try to tell me Peyton Pritchard pretty good. No, he's not. He good enough to lock up James Bouknight.
What you saying? You knew something was wrong with the boy.
I knew something was wrong with James Bouknight. Something not right. So then the season starts. Well, before the season even starts, we sitting here chilling. We just sitting here chilling, and somebody in the Charlotte Hornets group, was it Paz Mello, I think? Shout out to him for breaking the story.
Right.
He's like, a friend of mine that works for CMPD.
Kaiser, stop the presses right now. All right, shout out that guy. But damn it, we broke the story first. Yeah. We are a humble group here under construction. We ain't got no followers. The people who watch us, y'all the reason we do the show, okay? But damn it, that story did not get out until we really broke it.
Check Twitter.
Check Twitter.
We was the first to tweet.
Give us our damn props.
Yes.
But anyway, go ahead.
Because after we heard, he said, "Hey," he just made a post. Hey,
no. Props to you, my man, because you did the digging.
Yeah, we done.
You did the digging, man.
First thing we did when the dude said it, my friend said that James Bouknight got arrested for.
And like good journalists would do, because we're not journalists, but what good journalists would do.
We went digging. We found out that there was an arrest record for James Bouknight. It had not been done being processed, but his fingerprints had been processed. He had a PID. So we were like, okay, this gotta be legit.
This is real.
So in short, now all of us know this now, but James Bouknight was arrested for a DWI. Apparently, what had happened was that the police tried to pull him over for DWI,
and they couldn't get him to wake up.
Yeah, he had a gun in his lap,
Doritos,
and a bag of Doritos. Which I ain't gonna find. I love Doritos too.
I love me some nacho Doritos.
But they said he crashed into a cop car too.
No, two of them. Two. I hate to ask this question, but you know what I'm about to ask. That boy lucky.
Oh yeah,
he's lucky.
Like we lucky we're not singing. It's so hard to say.
Really?
So Charlotte cops, they probably knew who he was actually. Plus he was probably like I don't know what kind of car James Bouknight drives, but he's probably in a nice ass car. So they're probably like, okay,
this guy is somebody.
Right, this is somebody we don't want to shoot this guy.
Right.
So the Charlotte Hornets essentially said, okay, well we're just gonna let that process play out, but he did play mainly out of necessity,
right?
Because LaMelo Ball is still out with his ankle sprain, and Cody Martin is out with a quad injury. So, James Bouknight has had to play in these first two games, and he's looked absolutely terrible.
Awful. He's looked awful.
Looks absolutely, and I know that. Hey, he's probably going through some tough times right now.
Absolutely.
But you're a professional, bro.
So, all right, man. I don't even know if I'm tooting my own horn when I say this, man, but I told y'all when we drafted this dude had some maturity issues, and I was being nice. You know what I mean? And I was being kind of easy about that. But in all seriousness, man, I hope this dude gets the help he needs, because it looks like he needs help. This is his third or fourth incident when it comes to DUI stuff, reckless driving, DUI stuff. He had a gun in his lap. You know how bad this could have really turned out? And I am stealing a point from Kyle Bailey from WFC. He made a really good point, man. And this is in terms of the Hornets punishing him or letting him play, whatever you want to call it, man. James Bouknight is a public risk. When you have a gun in your lap and you're drunk and you're hitting police cars, you are putting the public at risk.
Yeah.
And with the Hornets, I know the situation that they're in is very precarious. And they're like, damn, we got this big old hole at wing position, the point guard position. We don't have anybody who can play. But at the same time, this dude is putting people's lives at risk. It's like, what do you do? But at some point, I'm kind of on the side that the Hornets need to send some kind of message to him. And maybe it doesn't have to be right away.
I'm really surprised that he played these first.
I'm surprised he played, man. I am. And I think it's only out of disparity that he played. That has to be it.
Yeah, exactly. There was no one else to play.
There's no one else to play.
And particularly with everything that has been going on, we'll talk in a minute, Chris. Everything that's been going on with the Hornets in this offseason.
Yeah.
Starting all the way from Montrezl Harrell, Miles Bridges,
just any and everything.
Yeah. Right. So you add this on there, you're already dealing with all this negative publicity.
Miles Bridges is enough, but
exactly,
right.
Yeah. And then you do this. If I'm Michael Jordan or Mitch Kupchak, I'm like,
what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I'm
man?
like, hey, we got to send a message because everyone's already looking at us kind of crazy. Like, okay, y'all, what are y'all doing about Miles Bridges?
Y'all got a new crime syndicate,
right?
Going
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's all kinds
man?
of really funny jokes and memes, by the way. But yeah, you got to do. And here's the thing: winning and playing well resolves all issues.
Right.
if James Bouknight plays this much better, we probably beat the Pelicans, honestly.
Because he was awful.
He was awful.
Outside of 3 or 4 good minutes he had in the preseason game against Philly, other than that, he's been absolutely putrid. We were joking about this, but it's true. How can Mason Plumlee run the break better than James Bouknight? It was a 2-on-2, but the defenders were out of position. James Bouknight has Jalen McDaniels I'm talking wide open on the wing, dunk, alley-oop, whatever. And he tries to do his best John Morant impression, got blocked, knocked down. They stole the ball. Man.
And it's like, bro, what are you doing?
What are you doing, bro?
Jacking up just random threes. Yeah, I don't know.
But this was Borrego's fault last year.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Clearly is. Yeah.
Yeah, because we had people tell
if
us.
Borrego had just played him.
Borrego had just played the dude, we might have been in the playoffs. I hate saying I told y'all.
Sometimes I got to stop questioning
our knowledge.
I got to stop questioning NBA coaches.
They might know what they're talking about. They just might know what they're doing, man.
Yeah, James Borrego.
Man. What a concept.
Do we trade him or keep him? Well, we got to keep him now. But
let's talk about that a little more. Listen. I got to say this because not just the James Bouknight situation, but the Hornets in general. Y'all got to chill with the hot takes after game 2. Chill out. All of y'all chill out. It's game. We got 80 more damn games. Yeah. Chill out. Now, as it relates to James Bouknight, you can't give up on him yet. And
I agree.
You can't. If you don't give up on Miles Bridges yet, don't give up on Bouknight yet. He's still a very young kid. He's got a lot of growing up to do, like I told y'all 2 seasons ago, all right? And with all this stuff, matter of fact, I think this is a good reason why they hired Marvin Williams, because they knew they needed an older vet. They needed a mentor. You know what I mean? And I think that's good for not just James Bouknight, but the other young guys on the team. So maybe you start using Marvin and Michael and who else? I don't know how those inner workings are, but you start really trying to get to this young man. Say, hey man, don't waste this opportunity, because as of right now, he is completely wasting this opportunity. And I don't want to hear from fans, oh man, you didn't give him a chance and all this other stuff and blah blah blah. No, they're doing the same thing that they did with Malik Monk, and he's got to take advantage of it, man.
Absolutely. I wouldn't trade James Bouknight, but I will say I don't think he's going to get a lot of playing time once the roster restabilizes.
Yeah, once Melo and Martin come back, man.
Exactly. Then what? Because in
Greensboro,
Kelly Oubre's back as the 6th man off the bench. Dennis Smith Jr. has played incredibly well.
Yeah.
Once again, where's there room for James Bouknight?
In Greensboro. Whenever that starts back up, that's where he needs to be.
Okay, Nick Richards does not eat Doritos.
So
Nick Richards has played.
Shout out to Chris and Nick Richards.
Nick Richards has played pretty well these first 2 games. He played really well against the Spurs, and he played. Actually, no, I'm not even going to do that. To him and Plumlee, I thought played terrible against the Pelicans.
I'll say
you can't have Valanciunas go 30 and 17.
Well, let me say this: there's a fine line between Valanciunas and what we have. Let's keep that above.
Exactly.
And I'm not gonna crap on Richards too much, because he's simply just not ready for Valanciunas yet. It is what it is, man.
Valanciunas is very active. He's more athletic than he looks, more physical.
Yeah.
Nick Richards, what he's doing differently from last season, he's not standing around as much.
Right.
But he's still got heavy feet. He doesn't have good footwork.
Yeah.
So
that Willie Hernan Gomez.
So a guy like Valanciunas was just able to just simply outwork him on the boards. Having said that, though, I think Clifford likes what he sees in Nick Richards because the effort in the Spurs game was absolutely incredible. And he can do – I will say this, though. I think a lot of people are like, man, how is Mason Plumlee still starting? But sometimes –
I understand.
Yeah, sometimes you see Mason Plumlee – had 2 good plays on a fast break, and even though you kind of cringe when you see him running the break,
but
he was able to see the outlet pass and make a no look. Nick Richards is not doing that.
You know that's called Kaiser. Here's a word that the average fan does not like because it doesn't show up on the stat sheet: intangibles. Mason Plumlee has a lot of those intangibles that don't show up on the stat sheet, like just the awareness, and he is a good passer. Right. I'll give him that. I'll definitely call Plumlee a good passer, but other than making you cringe when he dribbles the ball, he's not going to do a lot of stuff that's gonna take away from the team. He's not going to give you what you want.
Nick Richards' advantage, he's more aggressive around the basket.
That's it, right?
Than Mason Plumlee is,
right?
And fans like
he's a better shot blocker, and that fans want. I want to see more shot blocking. I'm not going to lie. I'm the same way. He gives you more of the wow stuff, but I think Mason gives you more of the stable stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. All I'm saying is I need Mark Williams to get some playing time.
Oh, you're not going to see that, bro.
And which is sad because I think he'd be just as good right now.
I agree.
I think he'd be just as good as Nick Richards or Mason Plumlee.
I want to talk about Mark Williams some more because I will say early, and I'm going to say this for the 500th time, I hate making such a big deal out of preseason. But in all honesty, I looked at Mark Williams in the first maybe 2 preseason games, and I was worried. I was like, yo, man, this dude looks lost. He looks a little soft. And then, maybe by game 4 or 5, I was like, damn, he's so flashy. Like, no, this dude might can play. You know what I mean? But with all that being said, man, I just think with the pecking order, you just won't see much.
It sucks because the only way he's going to get minutes is
if someone goes down.
Injury.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
or if Mason gets traded by the deadline, which I think is a real possibility, quite honestly. But
Plumlee's liability defense comparison to Richard. That's why you need Mark Williams out there. Mark Williams is a better defender than any of the those guys.
Let me clean that up. I don't totally disagree with that, but here's where it gets sticky. Mason Plumlee he's not going to get in as much foul trouble as Nick Richards is. That's true. That's a big reason why Nick Richards doesn't see the floor like we want him to.
Ain't nobody scared of Nick Richards standing in the paint.
Right.
Nobody's scared of playing Mason Plumlee in the paint. No. Nobody's like, oh damn, Nick Richards there. I better not dunk on him. No, that's not happening.
No, but Nick Richards, we're seeing the improvement. We're seeing the ascension. But he's got to clean up the awareness stuff. He's in foul trouble way too much. He still gets lost defensively a lot. And I'm trying to tell fans, this is why you don't see as much of him as you would like to. You got to pay attention to this little stuff. And that's why he's not starting yet. Notice I said yet.
I think he'll be the starter before the end of the season.
That's why I said yet.
Yeah. Someone made an interesting comment during one of the game threads because I had made the comment that regardless of what you think about Steve Clifford, the players are responding to him.
It looks like they're buying in early.
They are. Yeah. It's clear that they listen to what he's got to say.
Yeah.
But somebody, I think it was one of our followers, Anthony, maybe said, I don't know. I'm just seeing the Hornets do
what Borrego told them to do last year.
Exactly, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. They're just doing exactly what James Borrego told them.
And to add to that point, they even did it sometimes. The problem is they just didn't do it consistently.
But I saw a little bit of regression to the mean during the Pelicans game.
Yeah.
When things started to look like they got out of hand, they stopped listening. They started jacking up threes.
They go back to playground ball.
Exactly.
And listen, and Borrego used to make this point all the time. He used to say it out of his mouth all the time. When you are missing shots, that cannot translate to you not playing defense.
Yes.
And they did a little bit of that in the Pelicans game.
I think that's ultimately what lost them that game. That was but having said that, I wasn't expecting them to beat the Pelicans. It was clearly a talent mismatch.
Yeah, come on now.
But the Hornets.
But how can you look at that game and be like overly upset at that?
No, absolutely not. There are no moral victories, but I feel like if you're a Hornets fan or a Hornets player, you can take a lot away from that game.
Man, I need Hornets fans to stop diminishing the Miles Bridges situation and how big that really is when it comes to this team, man.
We said this before the season started. The Hornets, wouldn't you look at them and think that they would have naturally improved and thus not making all these crazy moves.
The NBA 2K trades that everybody wants us to make. But see, this is why I've been telling you that I'm not so sure we're going to be as bad as everybody says we're going to be. For that reason.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Oh, boy.
We don't need Miles Bridges because Gordon Hayward is balling out.
Listen, this is real
wood. This is real wood, yes.
Right? We're going to go ahead. Let's talk about Gordon Hayward some more, man. And I said this in our game thread. I need people to pay attention to how this man has been playing defense. If anyone is buying into Clifford, and I'm not saying Gordon Hayward was like some terrible defender, but if you look at how he's playing defense this season, he's getting impact plays, man. I mean, you know what I mean? He's getting steals. He's
making the smart
plays
on both sides of the ball. Right. That's something the Hornets sorely missed from him last season. And once again, it comes down to, well, can he stay healthy?
That's it, man.
That's it. If he stays healthy, I don't think we'll see much of a drop-off from without having Miles Bridges. Yes, Miles Bridges brings a certain dynamic to the game that Gordon Hayward cannot. But having said that, from terms of pure production, I mean, Gordon Hayward, he's got 26 with Brandon Ingram guarding him.
Brandon Ingram's no slouch, by the way.
No, yeah.
He's a certified baller, dude.
And in fact, if Gordon Hayward, if they would just blow the damn whistle when he be getting elbowed and punched in the face.
That's a whole nother show, bro.
My God. That's a whole nother show. They do not like calling fouls on Gordon Hayward.
They love calling fouls on Valanciunas, boy. Man, he looked like Giannis out there, boy.
That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. Right now we're playing the Hawks. Apparently we're looking very good.
Well, not yet. 11-5. Well, 14-5.
Okay, all right. So after the Hawks, we play in between now and the time you guys see us again. We play 3 opponents actually.
Oh wow.
The Knicks, the Magic, and then Steph Curry comes to town. So we already know that's a loss because Steph Curry loves to come to Charlotte.
Oh no, but we got them the last time they came here, so you know they come here mad now.
He mad, he mad, and I don't know if the Warriors look, although they did lose to the Nuggets, but they look unbeatable. Steph Curry looks like he might just throw up another MVP season, like just because. That's a loss. I don't even want to talk about that game. He 50 maybe. Man.
I don't even want to.
I'm gonna look up what Steph Curry averages per game in Charlotte. I bet it's like something. It's
about 33.
I bet it's just a dumb number.
Yep.
But New York and Orlando, 2 interesting games.
Yeah.
Both winnable games.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they're close though. You know.
We're gonna. I hate to pick the chalk.
I'm gonna tell you why. Listen, I'm picking chalk just to be safe, but let me say this, man. This week is tough to predict for one real reason, man. We don't know when Terry Rozier is coming back. He's out tonight. I don't know if he's coming back next game or not, and that's going that really hurts us, man. And we're already down Melo. You know what I mean? So and we're down Cody Martin.
Now Melo has been practicing, so he may be back for one of those games.
I hope so. I'm ready to see Melo, man.
The New York game is going to be tough, and I think that with a completely healthy team, we would win that game. I'd pick us to win.
Yeah,
but it's in New York, and Rozier probably won't play. Melo probably won't play. Cody Martin won't play. I'm going to pick that as a loss. The Orlando Magic, I think we beat. I don't think they're quite as good as us.
They're better, but they're not.
They're better than we were last season.
Yeah,
but we should be able to win that game. And yeah.
Yeah. I got you.
All right.
I feel the same.
All right, we're gonna do shout-outs real quick in those last 2 minutes so we can get out here and watch the game. Y'all can watch the game too. Real quick though, I do want to give a quick shout-out to Amari Stewart, who I had 2 tickets to today's game. I couldn't go because I was hungover. So we gave them away under construction this morning, and we asked the question, what's the Panthers' all-time record against Tampa Bay? Correct answer was 24-19. He was the first to get that. Now it's 25-19.
Yeah.
Go figure. So we got the tickets. So shout out to him. I'm sorry to everyone else that got the right answer but couldn't win.
Man, that's why you got pace.
Yeah, that's Tanner Dill. He really wanted to go. Someone take that young man to a Panthers game. He really wanted to
listen, we'll be getting some more tickets.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we'll get them next time.
I want to do more giveaways this season.
Yeah.
Because you guys give us so much energy. We need to do things
Give it
to
back.
get back to you guys. All right. Only other shout out is that I really want to see this Emmett Till movie coming out Friday.
No doubt.
I know a lot of people already in the community are talking about we don't need another black trauma movie. I'm going to disagree. You have to keep hitting the oppressors over the head with look at what you did. Look at it.
Can't let them forget.
Can't let them forget. Look at what you did and give us our Oscars.
Which is the whole sentiment of that movie anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the whole, and I like that it's about Emmett Till's mother.
Right.
And in her, and you know how she essentially said, "Hey, the world needs to know what's going on in the South."
Yeah.
So
my shout out is way less serious than that, man. Shout out to Will Healy.
yeah.
You cannot. When I say cannot, you cannot get beat by 23 points at a homecoming game when you're favored by 13.
Yeah.
You are now 1-7. You ever see something coming a mile away?
Yeah.
So listen, Kaza, I actually pay attention to Charlotte football because I'm just a Charlotte guy, you know, and I like paying attention to Charlotte stuff. So I pay attention to this 1-7 team, and I'm looking at this game yesterday. Well, I'm looking at the score. I didn't watch the game. I'm looking at the score, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, buddy, you might be going right after the game. And I'm pretty sure it happened right after the game because we got the announcement this morning. So happy trails, Will Healy, man. Good luck, man. But Judy Rose has a big decision to make as far as the next head coach of Charlotte. And I have a name I want to give you. Got a name. Greg Olson.
Ooh. I know he making a lot of money though.
He making some TV, but you know the players, man. When you get Tony Romo, there's a rumor that Tony Romo actually doesn't want to do TV anymore. He actually wants to coach.
Hey, Luke Kuechly, the day Matt Rule got fired, showed up.
Hello.
Showed up for practice.
Hello.
Just showed up like, hey, what's up, y'all? I heard y'all coach got fired. No one even knew where Luke Kuechly was. The day they fired Matt Rule, he just appears. Like, what's going on?
I'm just saying.
So yeah, Charlotte. Greg Olson would be Greg Olson knows his football.
He knows his stuff,
I get so jealous watching other teams with good tight ends now.
And look, we got to wrap this up, man. But I want to explain real quickly why that name popped in my head, man. When you are what's the word I'm looking for? When you're not a top 5 for program,
right?
When you're not a blue blood program, you got to make splashes. What did Jackson State do? Deion Sanders, splash. You know what I'm saying? UNCC, same thing. You know, mid-tier program. You know, not with the big boys. You got to make a splash. You got to get your brand up. That is so important when it comes to small schools, and nobody's going to argue that Olsen doesn't know his stuff.
That's true.
So that's
Speaking of that, I got a trivia question for y'all. Maybe whoever answers it correctly, I'll send them some swag. There have only been 2 Panthers in history to make Pro Bowl and not make an All-Pro team. Greg Olson is one of them. Who is the other?
Chris Gamble?
Nope.
I don't know.
It's an offensive lineman, which should tell you a lot. Yeah.
Gross? Jordan Gross?
No, Jordan Gross has made an All-Pro team.
We hadn't had that many good.
I know. I was shocked when I saw this. I was like,
"So what you got, man?" I'm stumped.
Trey Turner.
Wow.
Trey Turner made 5 consecutive Pro Bowls,
and not
which doesn't even make sense that we would have an offensive lineman that made 5 consecutive Pro Bowls. But he did not make an All-Pro team during that run.
Wow.
Greg Olson made 3 consecutive Pro Bowls, did not make an All-Pro team.
Shout out to Trey Turner.
Trey Turner.
Yeah, man. Well,
all right, that'll do it. I'm gonna go watch this Hornet game. You want a beer while we watch?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're gonna drink some beer and watch the Hornets.
I pray and hope that next week is not as eventful.
Yes, God, me too. Yes. Hey, once again, thank y'all for watching. And we'll see y'all next week. Y'all are gonna take care of each other.
Hornets, peace out.
Get some Doritos.
Cool Ranch.